Today I will build a website where you can swipe on Wikipedia articles like it's Tinder. You start from a random article and need to get to a specified target. If you swipe right, you'll get a similar article like you already have. But if you swipe left, you'll get something different. And your objective is to get from your starting article to the target article in as little time as possible. So yeah, I added speedrunning to Wikipedia. Now, while the idea may sound simple, actually creating it isn't. However, before diving into the complicated stuff happening behind the scenes, we'll start easy by creating the basic layout of the website. All we really need is a Wikipedia article, press it in a sort of card and make this card swipeable. So I created an empty website, made the background dark, created a card with a title and a scrollable body. And yeah, ignore for now that this is not centered. This shit is hard. You should know that I code this website in React, which is used in other small projects like Netflix, Facebook and Discord. Now, whilst I have some experience with coding, React is largely different from other programming languages I'm familiar with. Me trying to code in this language is like you trying to speak Chinese if you only know English. You probably will know what you want to say, but have no idea how to say it. Anyways, the next step was making this card swipeable. After learning how to actually move this card, it was pretty easy to implement and it worked somewhat well. Except for the fact that you can drag this card to the 7th layer of hell. But we can worry about this later. Now, by just setting boundaries for what counts as swiped right or swiped left, we were basically finished with the making of the card itself. However, it's quite empty right now, so we should probably add an actual Wikipedia article inside. For this, I created a new part of the script that just focuses on displaying the article in this card. First, we basically get the content from the article we get the content from the article, which right now is only text, and then display it beautifully like it would look on Wikipedia. We do this for one reason: speed. If you want to speedrun, it would be less than ideal if the loading times are very long. However, speed will remain a problem later on. But as you can see, right now we already have the summary of the article we want here. If we now change our title, we'll get the summary from that different article. From here, it's just a matter of getting the actual article in HTML, which looks like this, and converting it to look like this. Before that, we need to sanitize the raw HTML, because otherwise it apparently wouldn't be safe. I guess it has something to do with bacteria and COVID, but I have no clue. Anyways, now we have this beautiful page which looks exactly like Wikipedia. Well, like Wikipedia from Timu. However, one small problem we face right now is that the article is interactable with. You can click links and images, which you really aren't supposed to do in our case. To fix this, I basically just said if the user presses a link, do nothing. We've done the groundwork so far. But from now on, it gets a lot harder. And here, I definitely hit my ceiling of what I can do by myself. However, I don't want everything to be written by AI from now on, since I want to actually learn something from this project. I believe exactly this is a perfect opportunity to learn, because I have to do something a bit more difficult than I'm comfortable with. So that this project isn't going to take forever, I allowed myself to use ChatGPT to help me by only giving me instructions on what to do. Basically, he gives me just enough so I somehow figure it out. But before we make the actual speedrun mode, we will make a different mode first, the rabbit hole mode. This mode basically allows you to go on an endless rabbit hole where you can navigate quickly by saying if you're interested in something or not. Later, the speedrun mode will require some pretty complex logic. This rabbit hole mode, on the other hand, is rather simple, but still important for our foundation. Because here, if you swipe right, you'll be redirected to the first link on this article. Firstly, we'll implement the logic for when you swipe right. Our goal right now is that when you swipe right in the rabbit hole mode, we find the first valid article link in the current article, set that as a new title to fetch this new page, and finally update this card. Following that, I just continued to follow the instructions ChatGPT gave me and created the swipe right logic, which was somewhat working, as you can see here. The swipe right function is still a bit weird, and I already noticed that taking the first link may not be the best idea. However, when checking the functionality with different articles and experimenting with some things, I actually got it to work on the OpenAI article. If we swipe right, we are redirected to OpenL, which is the first link and shows that our mode is working. However, it also shows that the approach of taking the first link is pretty stupid, as oftentimes it's something at the top like not to be confused with, which can be vastly different from the original article. So I decided to switch this up, so that a random link is selected from all those mentioned in the article. And with basically just doing random shit until it somehow worked, we finished this rabbit hole mode, which is pretty cool. I further removed certain types of links, like categories, as they are rather boring. But right now, you can only swipe right. We also need to do something when you swipe left. This is rather simple though, as we just redirect you to a completely different article from a pre-made list. However, so that swiping left isn't giving you a completely random article, if you already swiped right before and showed that, for example, Google is something in the right direction, you will be redirected to a different link from the Google page. Not like a completely different page like GTA. Finally, we face the final boss, the speedrun mode. Even though we got our idea largely working already, making the speedrun mode is still very difficult. In the rabbit hole mode, the next link you get is oftentimes a bit too random. So for the speedrun mode, we need stricter checks for what link you will get. For this, we tokenize the link and check its similarity to the current article. It's quite simple actually. We split the article names into separate words and check if they match with the title in any sort of way. The closer they are to each other, the higher the similarity. Then, when you swipe right, you'll be redirected to the article that is the most similar. If that's not where you want to go, just swipe left and you will be redirected to the next most similar article from the previous page. Now, implementing this was quite difficult. However, first I had to create the basic elements of the speedrun mode, which were the mode picker, a timer, a step counter, and a display for your starting and target article. I implemented this and only really had problems with the timer, which I fixed through a short Google search. The real problems appeared with the algorithm for choosing the next articles. I failed a lot and really had no idea at certain points what I was doing. It also didn't help that my code was not at all organized, so trying to understand what part does what was pretty difficult. However, after a ton of trial and error, I finally got it working. Now I added 100 unique options of starting and target articles you can speedrun, and then lastly, I wanted to improve the speed at which the articles load. I simply removed most of the boring information and only loaded the top of the article, which was important for understanding quickly what the article is about. Now we have this end result, which I'm pretty proud of, so let's try it out. Okay, we need to get from the moon to Michael Jackson. What the hell? No. We have to restart. Okay, Fortnite to India. No. Oh my god, no. Bankruptcy in China, this is great. China is great. BBC News. Yes, sure, let's try that. What? From BBC News to Adolf Hitler? Okay, that's crazy. Oh, yes. It's straight up just refusing to do anything. Okay, from Google to Europe, this should be this hard. Angola's right. European Union, yes. Please, come on. Enlargement of Europe. Yes, that's great. No. Age of Enlightenment, come on. Event pop, what the hell? I'm not African now again. Oh, institutional seats of the European Union. Come on, let's go, come on. Something about Europe. We are so close right now. Come on, Central and Eastern Europe. Now just normal Europe. Oh my god, finally! After 230 seconds. Almost 4 minutes it took us to reach fucking Europe. Now, it doesn't look very good, nor does it run really well, or even function correctly all the time, but I actually accomplished my goal of creating Wikipedia, but as Tinder, and learned a ton on the way. Even though it seemed impossible for me to do at first, I actually somehow did it. So maybe you should do the same. Try something a bit more difficult than you're comfortable with. If you want to try Wikipedia Tinder yourself, the link's in the description, as well as the source code for all of this. Have fun, until next time, subscribe.